What is up, people? This is going to be a good one. I'm going to show you the exact sell by chat system you can use in your coaching business to increase the amount of bookings per day or per week that you have, and also make more sales in the back end. So this is going to be a long one, so let's jump right into it. All right, so the way I'm going to do the video is to explain to you the new standard you have to have in your coaching business, the 4-step of SMS and DMs conversation, how to follow up, and also some classic mistakes to avoid. So the new standard you should have is basically everyone that enters into your funnel, whether it's a newsletter, it's a social media account, or it's an opt-in page, you should engage with every single new leads in a sales conversation with them. And what it does is it will dramatically increase your bookings, increase your sales. It will also maximize your ad spend and also reduce the nurturing period you have to send them content so that they decide to book a call with you, right? So the way you should see it is every time someone goes into your funnel, you should engage with them, and it should be kind of a mini coaching session. So you're supposed to help them. You're supposed to ask them what's their problem, how you can help them, and try to book a call with them so you can essentially give some value in exchange, but also to sell your offering. And the way you're going to do that is by gathering some information. The first one, of course, is you want to understand their situation. You want them to feel that you listen and understand them so that you can create some kind of a rapport, but also some authority also. You want to identify a gap from where they are to where they should be. So the transformation that needs to happen for them to make more whatever you're selling, then you should identify that and create the gap and explain how your offering is going to close the gap between the two. And once they understand that, you ask for the phone call, you pitch your offering, right? And there's an advanced method also. It would be to close in the DMs, close in the SMS. You don't have to go on a phone call necessarily, but that's an advanced move. Usually when you start out, I recommend to go on a phone call because you can handle all the objection right there. You can ask for more question, more in-depth question. So it's easier to sell your offering. So I would start with that, but just know that I know many people that make millions without any phone call, even for high ticket offer. Okay, so now we're going to see the 4th step to conduct a successful SMS or DM conversation. First of all, you want to open like a pro. You want to dig in the pain, so you want to echo back what they're telling you. You want to ask qualifying question to test their commitment, and you want to finish by asking for a phone call. So the first step, of course, what I mean by opening like a pro is you want to start a conversation right away. As soon as they go in your opt-in page and subscribe, or if they go on your landing page, whatever, you want to start a conversation as soon as possible. Because the more you wait, the more they'll forget about you. The more they'll forget about why they joined your list in the first place. So if you want to stay top of mind and guaranteeing you that you receive a reply, you should start a conversation right away. The second thing is you should always ask an open-ended question. So when you reach out to them, you ask a question, they cannot reply by yes or no. Because if they can, you won't have anything to work with. If they just reply yes, then it's hard to follow up with something meaningful for your next question, right? So you want them to open up, and you do that by asking open-ended question. The other thing also is you want to ask great questions. The better your questions are, the better the reply will be, because it shows that you have some expertise in your domain. It shows also that you have some authority, and it will prompt for a better response, right? And the better your question is, the better you build trust also. So you'll be more inclined to receive a response the better your question is. And the next step also is to always keep it super short. No paragraph. You don't want 2 or 3 sentences. You just only need one question, and that's it. You keep it short, and so you don't you show that your time is valuable and their time is valuable, and you're much more inclined to receive a response from them. And a few examples of that could be, "Hey Dominic, thanks for watching my video. How are you doing on the marketing front or on the marketing side of things?" You can ask, "How are you doing on the jump hunt?" If you're in fitness, it could be, "How are you doing on the fitness side of things?" So very broad and very general question, so that you can receive the most amount of information from your leads, right? And you're going to use that for your next question or just to follow up in your conversation. So the better your question are, the most amount of response you're going to get. It needs to be super short, and it also needs to be open-ended. So here's two examples I have here that you should not follow, right? So the first one, so he asked a first question here, and the second question was like, "Would you be willing to answer a few questions so I can get a better feel of your situation? This will allow me to help you better." So your first question or your second question should always be great. Otherwise, you're missing out on your opportunity to build trust and authority. In this case, you don't need to ask permission. You can just ask your question, right? So they enter into your funnel, ask your first question. You don't need permission. The second one is, so he responded, "Sure, you can ask me a question," and he said, "Great, what have you tried in the past to lose weight or build muscle? Any success?" So these are two questions. Always just ask one question. Otherwise, it's confusing. And we don't know which one to respond to. And in this case, you respond to the last one. And you could respond by yes or no. So this is very bad because you don't have nothing to work with. And slowly but surely, you're losing the interest of your leads. And in this case, this is what happened. Like, he asked another question after he said nope. "What weight loss methods have you tried?" And he said running, walking, cardio, da da da. And then he asked a third question after that, and the person stopped responding. And why? It's just because those are not like super great questions, but also you're not using what he's giving you as information to kind of follow up with your next question. Like, the person doesn't feel that you're listening to him, and you're not providing value because you're not listening to him. He's expecting some kind of a value exchange here, and you just like ask another question as if this person is asking or responding rather to a survey, right? So when you answer a survey, there's no flow. There's no person to like give you some feedback on your answer. This is what he's doing right now. And since you're supposed to be a human and respond with some value, then the person just checked out and said, "Yeah, not interested." So in this case, that was kind of a bad interaction. The other example I have is very similar. So again, like in this case, he introduced himself and he said, "You said in the survey you want to get healthy for your wife." Sorry. So he said, "You want to be healthy for your wife and kids." Very admirable. By the way, we don't do that. We never like justify their pain, or do it. We never want to be a cheerleader when we conduct a sales conversation. We want to be like a doctor, right? And in this case, like, he continued by saying, "Have you tried anything to get healthy before? Any success?" So there's two questions again. So it's confusing. In this case, he responded with something. "I was on a 30-day routine that helped, but once that routine ended, I was lost." All right, so now he said, "Understood. What are the things you hate most?" So he's asking a different question that is unrelated to what he just asked. So you should always echo back what they give you to show them that you're listening, and also to ask a relevant question, also a relevant follow-up. Otherwise, you sound like a bot. You sound like it's just a normal survey. And then the person didn't answer, of course, because he got uninterested, and he tried to follow up, Michael, and he never received a response back. So you're kind of losing the lead because you were not relevant and you were just not providing any value. So every sales conversation should be a mini coaching session. So you should be providing value to him. But in this case, you're just asking questions, not providing any value. You're not building your authority, so you're losing the lead. So those are two examples of what not to do. Step number 2 in any sales conversation by chat is to dig in the pain. And this step is so important. It's so overlooked by everyone. If you change only that in your sales conversation, you'll make so much more money, you won't believe it. So what I mean by that is you need to create the opportunity for you to sell your offer, your solution. So you need to create the gap between where they are and where they're supposed to be. Because if they think they don't have any problem or they don't have any pain to solve, they won't buy your solution. So you create that by asking them questions such as, what is the transformation they are after? Where they are feeling exactly? And you can ask a question, like you can position your question like, how long did you know you had to do something about this, right? So the time frame they've been in this situation. And when you get that information, you need to make them sit in the pain. They need to understand how severe their situation is so you can make them understand they need to change. They will need your offer. So that's the first step that most people miss. Whenever someone replied to you their problem saying that I have like 50 pounds to lose, I'm overweight, they don't use the information. They just say, oh, I understand. Totally admirable. Yes, that's fine. Instead of building the pain, saying like a phrase that I like is like, oh no, 50 pounds? Like showing them that there's some drama here. It's like, it's severe. You're trying to contextualize their situation so that they understand, oh yeah, I need to change. Like I should not be in this situation. And that's why they're coming to you. That's why they are in your sales funnel, in your pipeline, because they had a problem and they're looking to solve it. So it's your job to make them realize where they should be in the transformation, right? From where they are to where they should be. And let's say in sales, for example, it could be they reply to you, oh, we made 12K last month. You could say like, oh, only 12K a month? That's it? And then they reply, well, we tried this. Da, 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 da. You're trying to make them realize that it's nothing, right? And if it would be like 50K, you say only 50K. So you're always trying to push them to the next step, to where they should be. And this is where they also want to be. In fitness, like I said, it could be how many pounds you lose. And you're trying to position it like, oh, most of my clients, they achieve X in this amount of time. Just to frame your offer and also to show that you have a lot of authority. You're working with a lot of people in the same situation and they're crushing it or they're at a different stage. So you've seen a lot. You should show them that you have a lot of authority, expertise, and you're not impressed by what they're saying, right? And you do that by also adding a lot of question mark, a lot of exclamation points to make it more like there's more drama, there's more emotion in it. And you also never want to release the pressure with words of encouragement, right? So if they tell you they need to lose 50 pounds, do not tell them, oh, it's okay, like we'll get it. Like never make the situation like seem it's not a big problem. Never release the pressure. Instead of saying words like I understand or it makes sense, always use I see or interesting or let's dig in, right? So you don't want to convey too much emotion so that they can justify this situation because they're listening to you. If you're saying like, yeah, totally fine, right away you release the pressure and you're working against yourself. So they need to sit in the pain for a long time to understand that, oh yes, I should change. They need to be uncomfortable. And that's your job to do that as a coach. And if they sound too cocky, you need to show that you're not impressed because you've seen much better. And sometimes you will see the opposite. They will have low self-esteem. So you need, in that case, to do the reverse. You need to show them that it's possible, that they can make progress forward. And you need to show them the way. So we call that the buyer zone, right? So it's in the middle. Not too optimistic, but also not too self-deprecating. So you need to put them in the middle so that they know it's possible. I'm going to show you one example of what not to do also. This is another example of what not to do. So there's been a few exchanges already between the coach and the client. And when the client explained his situation, the coach replied, well, you're already winning by taking responsibility. So when he did that, he just released the tension. He released the pressure. So he was basically shooting himself in the foot, because he needs to create a pain to sell a solution. And if the client doesn't understand how severe his situation is, you won't be able to sell him anything. So never compliment, never be a cheerleader. And also, it's not the time to build rapport. It's not the time to be friendly. You're trying to be a doctor here. You're trying to do a sales conversation. Like if you're going to see a doctor because you broke your leg and he's asking you what happened, and you told him, oh, I was just jumping out of a 4-story building without protection. And the doctor replied, oh yeah, I understand. No problem. Like very admirable. Like, no, he should tell you that, what the fuck were you to jump out of his 4-story building? Never do that again. So that's what you need to do here. You need to explain to him that his situation is a failure, quote unquote, and he should change. Otherwise, you won't be able to sell him anything. And in this case, right after he did that, he said, I can give you a clear path to 20K a month. So he was selling his offer without creating the pain and even without qualifying the prospect. So we call that like commission breadth. He was a little bit too thirsty. So you won't be able to sell your service when you do that. So this is a clear example of what not to do. Okay, now it's time to ask for a qualifying question to test the commitment of your lead. So the way you do that is you could say, I could help you crush it, but I would need you to be committed. Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is this? Is this a now thing or a later thing? Is this a nice to have or a must to have? So you need to gauge how urgent it is for your prospect to make sure you can sell your solution or not. If you reply no, it's not a now thing, that of course you won't be able to sell nothing, right? So you need that information to qualify your lead. And also you can ask this by asking great questions. So you don't ask what is your sales per month. You would say, what is your gross margin last month, right? So you're trying to demonstrate your knowledge, your expertise in the domain. And when you answer, you're going to go with the oh no sentence, right? So, oh no, most of my client makes 5 times more. So you're trying to create the problem and position your offer. It could be also, what are the personal and professional outcomes with Celebrate? What is your revenue per employee? So great question to show your expertise and also to qualify them. And I would say usually you would need at least a chat will need to have 8 to 9 messages before you can move to your offer. So that's about 3 to 4 questions. So before that, it means you don't have enough information. Unless they write big paragraph, then now you have more information to deal with. But usually that's about the standard. So that's a framework to follow. It's not set in stones, but that's something you can like expect from a good sales conversation. So here's 2 other examples of what not to do. So in this case, this is an inbound lead. So someone replied like, hi, I would like to find good deals in Florida or East Coast. Could you help me? So that's great. That's showing interest. And the person jumped right into it like, oh, I can teach you how to do it, with a smiley face. So never do that. So you always need to qualify your lead before knowing if you can help them, because otherwise you don't know if it's a good lead, but also you're not showing your authority, right? You're not showing that you want to qualify the person you want to work with. If you work with everyone, then maybe you're not a great coach. And in this case, what happened is when he asked him, when he said, I can teach you how to do it, the person asked him a question back to qualify the coach, because he was like, oh, that was too easy, right? So, oh, do you flip house in Florida? Because now he's not sure if it's the right coach he wants to work with. So always qualify before pitching your offer. And again here, the smiley face, never do that. Never be a cheerleader, never be like with too much emotion. This is a sales conversation. You want to create the pain, you want to qualify your lead. Don't do that. And in the same conversation later on, the person like again reply amazing with a smiley face. Like, don't be a cheerleader. You remove the pressure. We just showed that before. Don't remove the pressure, because now you're removing the pain from the equation. Like, the person will think, oh, it's fine, I don't need your help, maybe I can do it myself. So never do that. And also, never reply with big paragraph like this. Like if you look more committed than the client himself, that's not a good sign. He should be talking more of the time, and you should be listening more of the time and using what he's telling you to frame your next question and moving the conversation forward, right? So you need to dig the pain, qualify, and right away right after that you're gonna ask for the phone call, and we're gonna show you exactly how you can ask for a phone call. Now that you open the conversation, you dig in the pain, and you qualify your lead, and you think it's a good prospect, it's time to ask for the phone call. And the way you do that is very simple, is you ask, do you want my help? Right? So you always need the permission to pitch your offer before you can do so. Because if he doesn't tell you, I need your help, you have nothing to work with. It's very important that you ask this simple question. And as soon as he does that, now you can pitch the phone call or pitch your offer. And also, don't wait too long to do that. Don't engage in small talk. Don't try to be friendly or to build rapport. Make sure that you make the sales conversation progress, like move forward, like qualify your lead, dig in the pain, and then you pitch your offer. But also, of course, don't be thirsty. Don't do it too fast. Otherwise, you sound salesy. Make sure you follow the step. And now it's a good moment to ask for the phone call. And when you ask for the phone call, make sure you sell it. Make sure that even if it's free, you show that there's going to be value in the phone call. So maybe you can tell, you're going to go through topic A, B, C. We're going to review your situation. Whatever it is, you need to sell the phone call and make sure that it sounds valuable for him. And then it's as simple as you can just drop your calendar link. You can say, I have a few openings in the next couple hours, or maybe tomorrow, and he's going to book a call. And it's that easy. If you follow this framework, for sure, you're going to get more bookings and more sales. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to follow up with your lead, because as you know, it will happen. People forget that you send them a message. They get busy, or they just didn't receive the notification. So that's just normal. So don't get discouraged. Always follow up. I always say fortunes are made in the follow-up. I'm sure you heard that before. Also, this is very true. Most of your client will become client after you follow up with them. So just follow this framework. Super easy. If they stop responding after 30 minutes, what you should just do is go on the conversation and like one of their messages, so that they receive a notification and they get reminded that you're waiting for a response. Or you can also go, if it's on social media, you can go and engage on their profile. Maybe it's one of their story, a photo, whatever. Just nudge them. If they still don't reply after 60 minutes, you can send them one of those messages. Got my note, ping, or Dominic, question mark. You can say, sorry, I got busy. You're just trying to play dumb. Or you can be more playful and say, sorry that I offended you. You're just trying to spark a response. And if they haven't responded even after that, then I will wait at least 24 hours before sending another message, right? You don't want to sound too needy, so you will wait 24 hours, and the next day you can say morning or happy Monday, whatever. It's just to, again, try to resume the conversation, to remind them that you're waiting for their answer. And after that, if they still don't reply, I will wait until like maybe 3 days and follow this cadence, like 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. And every time I will send them a piece of content, right? I will send them some value, maybe a testimonials, just so you don't sound too needy. If they haven't responded by now, the only way I've seen it work is for you to keep following up, but with value, with testimonials, right? And this way, you're not like too needy. You're just sending value to them, and you have way more chances that they will respond at some point. But this is the cadence I will follow. Okay, my last point before we end this video, because it's been a long one, is the classic mistakes to avoid. So the number one of what not to do is to do not solve problems in the DMs, because when you do that, you're working against yourself. They need to feel that they have a problem, And if you're solving it in the DMs, for sure, they won't buy your service. They won't buy your coaching program. So you need to make sure that they feel the pain, and also, like I said, to not justify their pain either, because when you do that, they think their situation is okay, and they really need to feel that their situation is severe for them to buy your product. So don't solve their problem in the DMs. Number 2 is always make sure you're not in a friend zone, right? So always act like a doctor. Don't be a cheerleader. Don't do too much small talk. Don't be too friendly. It is a sales conversation and you need to control it. So show you know your business, show you have authority, ask good and relevant questions. And if you do that, you won't be put in a friend zone. Number 3 is to not sound like a bot. When you're sending message, break your message. Don't send big paragraph. Every sentence should be a new message, right? Because otherwise you sound like a bot. When people talk, they always break down their chat. They say, hey, send. How are you? Send. So always break out your chat. Always echo what your customer is saying, right? So when you're asking question, always use the information that he gave you. Otherwise, it sounds like you're not listening. It sounds more like they're answering a survey instead of talking to a human. So always use the information that they give you. And also, if he opens up, it means that he's invested. So maybe you can push the phone call faster than you would, which leads me to the next point is never lose the momentum. Always make sure that you ask for the phone call as soon as possible. So move the conversation forward, like open, ask relevant question, dig in the pain, qualify him, and then ask for the phone call, and don't take too long to ask for the question. And also never finish a chat or an interaction without asking a question back. Otherwise, you need to restart the conversation and it's going nowhere, so you're losing the momentum. So always make sure to ask a question so he knows that the ball is in his court. So that will be the 4 classic mistakes to avoid. So that's it. That is my Sell by Chat framework. If you follow that, I guarantee you'll have way more phone call sales. You will enroll way more people in your business. It's a game changer. If you're not doing this, you should follow the exact framework I just showed you. It would change your business. I'll guarantee it. And if you like that, just like the video, and I'll see you on the next one.